What's up, YouTube? Vote and understanding here for the video. So, just want to get my post analysis on that Dubois and Filip Hrgovic fight. And I want to say before I talk about it, I was never really high on Filip Hrgovic, like a lot of people were. A lot of people was calling this man the Boogeyman. I really didn't see it whatsoever. I swear to God, I thought he lost to Zhang. I thought Zhang beat him. He already dropped him in the fight. Now I know Zhang, has a habit of getting tired later on in the rounds, but I just didn't think Filip Hrgovic did enough. However, a lot of people did, Hrgovic fans made up the excuse of because Hrgovic's father passed away, that's why he had a bad performance and shit like that. And I think even Filip Hrgovic's team was saying the same thing. Now I'm not going to fault the fact that, when you lose a loved one, how would it actually affect you and your performance and stuff like that. We seen people persevere through situations like that, and then we see people falter through things like that. Case in point, I look at Alexander Usyk. His father passed away leading up to that Tyson Fury fight, and he was still able to use that as motivation. We seen Buster Douglas when he beat Mike Tyson. His mother passed away leading up to his fight, and he was able to use that as motivation. However, I do realize that people respond different in situations like this. So, you could kind of give Hrgovic the benefit of the doubt. However, I still thought he lost to Zhang in that fight. Now, leading up to this fight, people just in general, they got to stop relying on these fucking sparring matches that they had years ago where they hurt somebody or somebody quit in sparring or they embarrassed them and everything else, and thinking this is going to translate into an actual real fight. Because this is the second time in a row where people, try to show intimidation towards Dubois, who at one point in time, I wasn't, I just figured he was overhyped at one point because he was kind of known as a quitter and stuff like that. Especially, after the Joe Joyce fight. But, you can't really fault somebody, when you have broken eye socket and shit like that. Everybody gonna react different to certain situations like this. And then the fact of the matter that I thought he let himself, he beat himself up when he fought Usyk pretty much, because he did drop Usyk. Everybody knew that was a legit punch, but it wasn't counted as a legit punch. They called it a low blow, and it seemed like all the confidence went out the door after that situation when Dubois, after he dropped Usyk in that fight. So he ended up losing, and people said he quit in that fight. But remember when he was going against Big Baby, Gerald Miller, and Gerald Miller was, saying all types of names, calling Dubois quitter, sucker, pussy, and everything else. He was going to beat the mess out of him. And somehow, Dubois used that as motivation and actually put a number on Gerald Miller and end up stopping him in the last round. So, that was one lesson learned right then and there. Then this one, you had Filip Hrgovic. He was walking around like he was the best thing since a slice of bread and shit. And people was, like I said earlier, they was calling him the Boogeyman, saying that nobody wanted to fight him and everything. And I just seen a lot of flaws in Filip Hrgovic. I was just like, come on, like, this is who they calling the Boogeyman? I just never believed it personally, but that's just my opinion. I mean, maybe people saw something different and everything else. But going into this fight with Dubois, you could tell that Dubois, he was coming. Filip Hrgovic, he was getting some punches off too, but a lot of punches Filip Hrgovic was throwing, he was missing. I mean, he was throwing shit from like a mile away. We talking about uppercuts from a mile away, missing, and everything else. Kept trying to throw the same punches, and them shits just didn't connect whatsoever. And it just seemed like Hrgovic didn't really change up his plan. During that fight, he didn't adjust to anything. Now, don't get me wrong, he did catch Dubois with a couple of shots and whatnot. But once Filip Hrgovic got cut in this fight, actually, I think he got cut in both eyes and shit. I'm not sure if it was actually from a punch or headbutts or whatever. Some people were saying that Dubois was a little dirty, used his head a lot and shit. I have to rewatch the fight and see if there was some dirtiness in there. But I will say this, Dubois came to fight against Hrgovic, and he pretty much bully the bully, and Hrgovic pretty much faltered. Now, you know, it's unfortunate that the fight was stopped due to cuts, and I guess it was, I'm not sure, like I said, the referee ruled it a headbutt or whatever, but he definitely ruled it a TKO in favor of Dane Dubois. But I think and I believe if it would have been stopped and go to the points based on the headbutts or whatnot, I believe Dane Dubois was already still winning the fight. That's just my personal opinion in that situation. But again, somebody going there overconfident, probably looking past Dubois, believing the rumors and everything else about him being a quitter and everything, and it just turned out that it's almost like karma at the end of the day. You can't go in there and take these people for granted. I don't care how soft you think this person is. I don't care if you think this is an easy win. You cannot take people for granted. Dane Dubois, people should have saw this coming. I mean, especially when he, again, when he fought Usyk, he was bringing the fight to Usyk. It's just that, when the shit ain't going his way, he ain't get the knockdown. Like I said earlier, he just got inside his own head. But if people will pay attention to that fight, he was bringing the fight to Alexander Usyk. And with the whole Gerald Miller situation, he was bringing the fight to Gerald Miller. So, yeah, Filip Hrgovic, like I said, to me, I thought he was a little overhyped. And, again, this is a lesson learned situation. He's just going to have to go back to the drawing board. I mean, it looks so bad to the point that Ronnie Shields was actually screaming in the corner of Hrgovic, trying to motivate him. Like, dude, like, what are you doing? I mean, we've seen this happen before with the whole Zhang fight. Ronnie Shields was getting on Hrgovic's case because he wasn't doing what he's supposed to be doing. I don't know if the marriage between coach and trainer just ain't working out, or just maybe it's just Filip Hrgovic himself. I'm not 100% sure, but like I said, this is what happens when you go into a fight thinking you bigger than what you really are, and you just can't perform under the lights. And with that being said, you're watching Bold and Understanding. Rate, comment, and subscribe. And on the end of that note, family, peace.